Oh, thank you. This is a most unusual way to start a situation comedy, but this is kind of an unusual situation comedy. It's entitled, and I say it as humbly as I can, The Grady Nutt Show. First question I'm always asked is, Grady Nutt really your name? Yes. It really is. I've been a nut all my life. Was born at the Nut House and have grown up there. You know, it's been sort of, I have a son whose name is Perry. His initial is Peanut. And my father always called him Goober, so it really is a family name and a great tradition. I thought about changing it a time or two, but we do have two T's on the name, N-U-T-T. Second T may not mean much to you, but it's everything at our house. I'm pleased to be here as part of this program. I'm especially pleased that I can do this because in a most remarkable way, I am an ordained minister, and there are a lot of people who wonder about that. How could a person who is funny be an ordained minister? Well, by being normal, by having the same kinds of foibles, problems, struggles, and difficulties that everybody else does. For instance, ministers have to be, are supposed to be, let's say, different than other people. Like, I'm supposed to slam my thumb in the car door and I can't cuss like lay people. I've never thought that was fair. When I lose it in the car door, it does not cross my mind, first of all, to go verily, verily. See, that doesn't do it. I got to be honest with you, occasionally I just let it happen and go, woo-ha, you know, I do that. The Grady Nutt Show is essentially about a minister, his family, his flock, and about the things that go on in the midst of everyday living that you bring to church with you. For instance, I have a wife in this show. My wife is a wonderful and delightful person with a mind of her own. I have a teenage daughter. That right there will add 10 years to your attitude. There are also kinds of problems in your work. You have to go in and deal with a secretary who wants to tell you how to run your life, and an associate minister who wants to help you in his most reverent way, and you would like to clobber him with the big book. Those things happen. But above and beyond all of that are the things that we run into, like the episodes you're going to see tonight. A fellow in the church named Bob Thompson, somebody that I absolutely cannot stand and love not liking him. You know, just because I'm ordained doesn't mean I got to like you if you're a turkey. See, I'm not going to do it. So, Bob Thompson dies. I got to bury the guy. I have to do a eulogy for a guy I can't stand. And that's the scene we have to put together, and we have to make it work. Hope you enjoy it. Welcome to our program, and peace be with you.
What's wrong?
Well, you know Bob Thompson?
That awful man?
He died.
Oh, what a shame.
And his wife wants me to do the eulogy.
For that awful man?
I don't know what I can say about him without lying like a bandit.
Well, come on, let's talk about it.
Okay. But first, I want to have a talk with our daughter.
Well, she isn't home yet. What about?
Did you see her sleep right through my sermon at church this morning? It has to be that middle-aged boyfriend of hers keeping her out so late.
Middle-aged? Randy's only 19.
Look, when my daughter is 16, 19 is middle-aged.
Dear, Becky's not a baby anymore. Randy had her home by midnight.
Yeah, but how long did they stay on the couch?
Randy!
Hi, Reverend Grady. Mrs. Reverend Grady.
Randy, what are you doing here?
Ellie, I'll handle this. Randy, what are you doing here?
Didn't Becky tell you?
Becky knows what you're doing here?
Sure she knows what I'm doing here.
Randy, what are you doing here?
You don't know what he's doing here? Does anybody know what he's doing here?
He slept over.
He slept over?
I thought he'd be gone by now.
Why did he sleep over?
His car wouldn't start.
His car wouldn't start.
So I slept over.
You stay out of this.
Dad, what's the big deal? Randy couldn't get home last night, so we slept on the couch.
And where were you?
Where I knew you'd want me to be, locked in my room.
What time?
12:15. Any more questions, Inspector?
Yeah. Why did you sleep through my sermon this morning?
Dad, you rehearsed it in front of Mom and me 12 times last week. I almost dozed off myself.
Hey, do you guys mind if I go wash up?
No, at the top of the stairs, 2 doors down.
I know, right next to Becky's room. Well, hey, I've been to the bathroom before.
Dad, you're really embarrassing.
Embarrassing? What did I do?
You threw a tantrum and sat on her boyfriend?
Ellie, we all have certain responsibilities. Becky is a minister's daughter. You are a minister's wife.
And we all live at a minister's house. Oh, the joys of a minister's life. Come on, Mom. Let's go make lunch.
Well, you two can joke if you want to, but what are people going to say about a strange car parked out front all night?
Dear, nobody cares whose car that is outside.
Grady, whose car is that outside? Joe, missed you at church again.
Yeah, well, the way I see it, if the Lord wanted us to spend Sunday in prayer, He wouldn't have given us the NFL. For which I am truly thankful. What about the car? Now, I know it isn't yours. You'd look silly in a mellow yellow Maserati.
Well, why all the concern about the car?
I'm your next-door neighbor. I see a strange, un-American car parked outside all night with a license plate that reads Macho Man. I figure maybe you got a problem.
Oh, it's Becky's boyfriend's car.
You got a problem?
Look, Joe, Randy's car wouldn't start, so he slept here on the sofa. Becky slept upstairs, locked in her room. It's all very innocent.
That's the nice thing about being a reverend. You believe in miracles. Maybe Randy is after Becky because he believes what they say about ministers' daughters.
What do they say about minister's daughter?
Hey, I couldn't say it in front of a minister.
Hey, Reverend Grady, will you tell Becky I'll call her tomorrow?
Yeah, sure, Randy.
Thanks. Ciao.
Is that Randy?
Yeah, it's Randy.
Does Becky carry mace?
Joe, it's very innocent.
Oh, come on, Grady. Are you telling me that Macho Man is innocent?
I'm telling you, his car wouldn't start.
Becky, your dinner's getting cold. Becky.
Becky, answer your mother.
Yes, Mom. My dinner's getting cold.
That's better. Guess you're not hungry, huh? Becky?
Becky, answer your father. I guess I'm not hungry.
That's better.
Grady, this isn't a very cheerful Sunday dinner. Couldn't we talk about something else?
Oh, all right. Bob Thompson died this morning.
Grady?
Well, it's not very cheerful, but it is something else.
Dad, couldn't we please talk about Randy?
There's nothing to talk about. You simply can't see him anymore. He's too old for you. I don't trust him, and his car started.
But I told you, I called the Auto Club before church.
Well, I still don't trust him.
You don't trust anybody these days, including me.
Well, I think I found a good eulogy for Bob Thompson. I'd like you both to hear it. And Becky, you seem like you're in an especially good mood for a eulogy. I'm here today to pay tribute to a good and loyal friend who will be lovingly remembered in the hearts of those who knew him.
Grady, you can't honestly say those things about a man like Bob Thompson.
It's not about Bob Thompson. It's about Benedict Arnold. He's the closest person to Bob I could find.
Well, I still think it's too good for Bob Thompson.
I could just yell, "Bob Thompson's dead," and wait for the cheering to stop.
Mom, may I be excused? I'm going to the library to study for an exam. All right, dear. See you later, Mom.
And we'll put your dinner in the refrigerator in case you ever get hungry again.
Good night, Dad. You know, you're really too hard on Becky and Randy.
Why, Randy?
Grady, he's a very nice boy.
Nice boys don't drive Maseratis.
You sound just like my father. He felt exactly the same way about you.
It's ridiculous. I drove a Studebaker.
Still struggling with that eulogy, sir?
Oh, I sure am, Jeremy. Do you know, every time I try to write something about Bob Thompson, I wind up feeling like a hypocrite.
Perhaps I can help. I found some words that might be appropriate.
Oh, good. Listen, I could use the help. Do you know, yesterday I actually got so desperate, I wrote down the eulogy for Benedict Arnold.
Grady, Bob Thompson's widow is here.
Oh, good, Liz. I asked her to come by to help out on the eulogy. Bring her on in, please.
Mrs. Thompson, if ever you need anyone to talk to.
Thank goodness there's someone I could talk to.
That's what I'm here for, Miss Thompson. Please have a seat.
Thank you.
It would be a great help to me if you could give me some information about Bob for the eulogy.
Well, what would you like to know?
Well, speaking as his wife, could you give me some of his really outstanding qualities? Well, is there anything you could tell me?
Reverend Grady, I could make up a lot of nice things to say, but I gotta be honest with you. Bob was a rotten husband. He stayed out all night and he drank like a fish. Somebody always had to carry him home. And the nights when he didn't drink, he didn't come home at all. And our 10 miserable years together, he had 5 affairs.
5 affairs?
He was out so much. Once he came home in the middle of the night, and our dog attacked him.
His own dog thought he was a burglar.
No, he just didn't like Bob.
I see.
It got so bad that I actually got down on my hands and knees and begged him. I said, it wouldn't kill you to stay home one night.
And did he?
The night he died.
Well, I'm sure it was just a coincidence. You know, perhaps we could have the memorial service without a eulogy.
No, that wouldn't be right. After all, Bob's dead. It's only proper that some nice words be said about him.
Nice words.
I can't ask you to lie, Reverend Grady, but it's not just for me. It's possible there's going to be a lot of people at the service who thought Bob was a wonderful man.
Well, it's possible.
And there's another reason for a nice eulogy. Bob's mother.
Bob had a mother? I mean, Bob's mother is living?
Yes, she's 93 and very frail, but she'll be there.
93. Does she hear well?
Very well.
Well, Miss Thompson, I thank you so much for coming by. I know it's been hard for you to share these things, but I hope somehow it's helped to lighten your burden.
Oh, Oh, thanks, Reverend Grady. Oh, and please thank your lovely daughter for her kind words at the funeral home last night.
Becky was at the funeral home?
No, she's been to the movies around the corner. Her boyfriend had his Maserati parked outside the funeral home. Didn't she mention it?
No, she didn't, but I'm sure she will as soon as I get home, which is where I'm headed now, if you'll excuse me. And please, Miss Thompson, don't worry about the eulogy for Bob. I'm sure I'll be able to find some wonderful things to say.
I'll be very grateful. Poor Reverend Grady. He'll have to lie like a bandit.
Where's Becky?
She said she was going upstairs to her room. What's the matter?
She lied.
She didn't go upstairs to her room?
You are too lenient with that girl.
Grady, it's her room.
Not talking about her room. She was out with Randy last night.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. They were seen out on a date together.
At the library?
No, at the funeral home.
They had a date at the funeral home?
No, they went to a movie, then they went to the funeral home.
Gee, we used to go for a soda.
Look, I have got to talk to this girl. You stay right here.
Why can't I go?
You're too confused. Becky, come down here.
I am down here, Dad.
You're supposed to be in your room.
Okay, I'll go to my room.
Don't you go sneaking off to your room. I want to talk to you.
Oh. Well, if it's about Randy, I want to talk to you, too. I lied last night. I went out with Randy because it was his birthday and I didn't want him to be alone.
Oh. Well, I'm glad you told me, Becky, but it still doesn't change what you did. I'm grounding you for a month.
Okay, Dad. I'm sorry I lied.
Becky, you didn't have to lie. Your father would have understood.
Mom, I can't get through to him anymore.
Well, in your father's defense, I know he's been unreasonable lately. Unfeeling, insensitive, and impossible.
What kind of a defense is that?
I'm getting to it, dear. The point is, I'm sure he's sorry, and he probably understands why you lied.
Your mother's right, Becky. And I just hope you can understand why I've been unreasonable and all that other stuff.
But, Dad, what's your problem?
The problem is that I'm your father. And no matter who you dated, even if it was Donny Osmond, I'd feel like I need to protect you.
Donny Osmond?
Well, him I could trust.
At least there's hope.
In my clumsy way, what I'm really trying to say to you is I love you.
I love you too, Dad. Am I still grounded for a month?
No. 2 weeks. You did lie.
Okay, I lied. But you lied, too. What about that eulogy for Bob Thompson?
Ooh, she's got a point there, Grady.
Well, somehow I've got to find a way to tell the truth. For my family, for Mrs. Thompson, and for a 93-year-old lady with perfect hearing. how does one find the words to express the loss of a man like Bob Thompson? I could resort to a lot of flowery platitudes, but I've always felt one has the obligation simply to tell the truth. Perhaps only those closest to him knew the real Bob Thompson. His mother, his wife, and of course, his dog. Bob's widow, Mrs. Thompson, very kindly shared some of her memories with me, and now I'd like to share them with you. I don't know how many of us are aware that Bob had an incredible thirst for life. His cup was never empty. And his spirits were always high. Sometimes he stumbled. Sometimes he staggered. Sometimes he even fell flat on his face. But Bob never lost his faith in his fellow man. He knew sooner or later someone would come along who could pick him up. Because of his high spirits, Bob wasn't content just to sit home every night. He enjoyed outside activities where he could get himself emotionally involved. Why, I know of 5 separate occasions in which he freely gave his love to others outside his home. I could go on, but it would be impossible to list all the outstanding qualities Bob Thompson had. So, rather than try, I would like you all to join me in a moment of silent prayer. I'm sure all of us will want to pray for his widow and, of course, for his mother. But because Bob is gone, and because of where Bob is going, if anyone needs our prayers right now, it's Bob Thompson. Let us pray. Oh, that was fun. And as a continuing ministry to Bob Thompson's mother, I went with his widow to see the dear lady off on the bus back to Idaho, and in a cloud of diesel, she left our lives a good deal happier, I think, because of the way I handled the funeral service. I know his widow was a good deal happier, and I know when it was over, I was a whole lot happier. Now that it's over, we hope you're a whole lot happier. Bless you.
Next, Lucille Ball and Steve.